Welcome back to the Maelstrom, ladies and gentlemen. We have another Warhammer 40k battle report for you today. 2,500 points in the ruins of an Imperial outpost. Everyone here has been butchered. The plague winds and the winds of magic have conjoined here in an attempt to take this world for chaos, and there is going to be a war between the Thousand Sons and the Death Guard to take this battlefield. Their fearless leaders will be bringing them to combat, so Magnus and Mortarion will lock horns on this battle and see which of them can emerge victorious in the name of their Chaos God. We are playing Spoils of War from the rulebook, so we have 6 objective markers spread across the table. They are Imperial loot counters here. They will be our objective as the game goes on, and we will be trying to score more tactical objective points, and whoever scores more secure objective X will score an extra point at the end of the game. In addition to that, you can take away your opponents, so if the Death Guard generates secure objective 3 and the Thousand Sons can accomplish it, they can take that card away. We have those 6 objectives marked with dice provided to us by our friend Chris down at Grand Adventures. If you have not checked his store out, there will be a link in the description to his Facebook page. Make sure you give him a look. It's a great store and a good place to play. And he has donated these really cool dice to us to play with. So we're going to be marking our objectives with those. 2,500 points. We are going to be playing Frontline Assault. It seems fitting on this ruined table. The Death Guard will be on this side, and the Thousand Sons will be across from them. We will be back with the armies. First up, we have the forces of the Death Guard with Mortarion leading them in the Lord of War slot. We have him here in the backfield. Alongside him, we have the Demon Prince that leads this particular portion of his army. That is the Creature Caster Aftermarket. If you have not seen it, go over there and give it a look. It is a super cool model. He has the Suppurating Plate and then a Demonic Axe and Malefic Talons. Joining him in the HQ slot, we have a Malignant Plague Caster. Then moving over to the troops, we have 4 squads of 7 Plague Marines. These guys have 2 plasma guns in 2 of the squads and 2 blight launchers in the other 2 squads. Backing them up, we have a Hellbrute with a fist and twin las cannons. We have a Plague Burst Crawler with the Rot Hell Volley gun and the Entropy cannons. In the fast attack slot, we have 3 Mephitic Blight Haulers, and we also have 2 Fetid Bloat Drones with the Flamer weapons. We have 2 Rhinos in the backfield there. They're going to be ferrying a couple of the Plague Marine squads around. So that is the Death Guard contribution to this conflict. We will be back with the Thousand Sons. Next up, we have the Thousand Sons.
So we have the army organized into a battalion. Our first leader is a Demon Prince, and he's carrying the relic for the army. He has a Dark Matter Crystal. My second HQ is an Exalted Sorcerer. Then for my troops, I have 4 squads of Rubrics. 2 of them are 10-man strong. 2 of them are 9-man strong. The 2 9-man squads also have a pair of Rhinos to ride around in. Then I have a squad of 10 Zangors. In my fast attacks, I have 2 squads of 3 Spawn. And then for my heavy supports, I have 2 Forge Fiends equipped with Hades autocannons and a Predator Annihilator. And then for the Lord of War for this army and my Warlord, I have Magnus.
Alright, so you have seen the Demon Primarchs and the forces they have brought to battle. We will be back as the long war continues. Deployment is complete. The Death Guard did finish first, so we'll walk down their forces to begin with. We have a Bloat Drone and the Plague Burst Crawler that have deployed on this flank. In the center we have the Demon Prince showing off his height and saying, I still don't have 10 wounds, so I can look impressive without getting shot. We have the 2 Plasma Gun squads. They are hiding out in their Rhinos up front. Behind them we have the Bloat Drone and the 2 Blight Launcher squads. They are protected by the Blight Haulers and their bubble of miasma. And then down here we have the Hellbrute and Mortarion taking cover on the flank. Josh is going to walk us down his Thousand Sons now.
So we set our Thousand Sons up for a general advance, put the Spawn on the front of our left flank, backed up with one of our 10-man squads. The Predator Annihilator in the back, kind of out of the way so we can get some good line of fire with these las cannons. Magnus holding the center, the other 10-man squad along the other edge, both of my Rhino squads on my left flank, and the Demon Prince set up with the big guns sitting in the back.
Alright, so as of right now with this mission, Magnus, or the Mortarion and his forces did finish up by 1 unit before Magnus. So, the Death Guard have chosen to go first, but we have seized the initiative coming from the Thousand Sons. Can they do it? With a 2, they do not. So the Death Guard will go first. We will return once that has rolled to an end. Alright, Death Guard have started things off with Secure Objective 5, Defend Objective 1, and Domination. We started by spreading out across the board here and moving towards our Thousand Sun opponents. Mortarion and one of the drones moved up here to take Objective 5, and the Marines did a general advance up the center with the Demon Prince in support. For stratagems, we played Cloud of Flies on these Marines to keep them out of danger, and we put Veterans of Long War on these guys in the shooting phase. The Psychic phase, we did Miasma of Pestilence and Putrescent Vitality on Mortarion to up his toughness and make him 1 point harder to hit. Down here, the Dreadnought stood still and took a Fire Frenzy. He fired around the corner into the Rhino and did it 4 wounds. Is that right? 4 wounds. Down here in the middle, the Marines combined their fire between the 2 squads to cut down the spawn here in the lead and secure first blood, and one of their bolter rounds got lucky and dinged a rubric over here. Their Demon Engine assault counterparts fired their weapons up. Multi-Melta went into the spawn and did nothing. The other 2 fired here and did 6 wounds to this Rhino on this side. We also then fired their missile launchers to Magnus. Between those and the Plague Burst Crawler, we were able to knock a grand total of 7. Is that right?
8 total.
8 wounds out of Magnus. The Plague Burst Crawler took a Blasphemous Machines card so that he could hit a little more accurately on the move. Fired all of his guns into Magnus except the Rot Hill Volley Gun. The Rot Hill Volley Gun cut 1 of the rubrics down, and the rest of his guns helped contribute to the damage there to Magnus. We also moved up on this objective since it's the one we're supposed to defend. The 2 Rhino squads stayed put inside their Rhinos and advanced on the trench system. No point in getting out with all those Inferno bolters out there. And that is it for the end of the first turn. So Death Guard are going to take Secure Objective 1. They're going to discard Domination, and we're going to score first blood for the spawn. Thousand Sun response coming up next. Thousand Suns, turn 1, we have Master the Warp, Power of the Cabal, and Secure Objective 4. Josh, tell us what you did.
So we kind of moved our army in a shifting to the right formation. It's starting to look a little bit like a Battle of Manassas with both forces leaning to their right flank. But we moved up. We threw 9 successful psychic powers this turn. It seems like putting Magnus in the army turned all the psychers on to we have a job to get done. First thing Magnus did was cast Temporal Manipulation and give himself a wound back, so he has 11 remaining. And then he cast Doombolt on the plague drone down here so that it couldn't run from us later, and I think we got 2 wounds out of it that way. And
one of them bounced off with Disgustingly Resilient.
That's right. And then we cast Smite on the Rhino here, and combined with the Flickering Flames, Prescience, and Demon Forge, and the las cannons from the Predator Annihilator, we managed to knock that Rhino out. He then unfortunately rolled 3 freaking 1s for his fallout and lost a significant portion of the squad. And then the squad up here that got Warp Time and Glamour and Weaver let go and managed to knock the squad down to 1 member. The other Thousand Sun squad up front shot at the plague drone. Whole lot of noise, not much, but I think we knocked 1 more wound out of it total.
Yep.
The crippled Rhino down here that only had 4 wounds left, we got the squad out, moved them back to the baseline, advanced the Rhino up, and knocked a wound out of the drone in front of him. The other Rhino fired and knocked a wound out of the Rhino directly in front of them. The last Forge Fiend fired at Mortarion, but threw the -1 to hit and the +1 toughness on his psychic powers for this turn. We didn't manage to do anything there. So finally, somebody in the Death Guard remembered that they're supposed to be resilient. We're up to charges. We're going to try to get Magnus and maybe a squad of Spawn into some combat here.
Alright, the assault phase is at an end. Tell us about it, Josh.
So the Spawn tried to make a charge on the Lone Marine just to try to gain some ground advantage. Rolled a 9, needed a 10. Close, but no cigar. Magnus declared a charge on the Black Drone, me thinking, I'm going to lose 2 wounds and be in a lower bracket. No sir, he boloed. Rolled complete garbage. 7 attacks, no 5s. Even with rerolls on his 1s. It was just junk. But Magnus made his charge in. Managed to only hit with 4 attacks. Or hit with all 7, only wounded with 4. And only managed to knock out 3 damage.
Yeah, if nothing else, he is a resilient little turd, no pun intended. Alright, so that's it for turn 1. Thousand Suns scored a massive, 4 plus 1 for Secure Objective 4, so they're at 5 there, and then Power of the Cabal, or Master Warp's going to give them D3 more. Ugh. So they're off to an 8-2 lead after turn 1. That is going to be difficult to climb back from. However, the Thousand Sons know the Death Guard are sons of adversity, and we are used to weathering the storm. We will be back as we begin turn 2. Death Guard, turn 2, we have Defend Objective 1, Secure Objective 4, and Symbol of the Fly Lord. So 4 is unfortunately out of our hands. It's back there by the Zangors. We're probably going to hand that one away. But first turn, or second turn rather, for the Death Guard was a brutal one. Tons of stuff died. We fell back over here with the Bloat Drone. We fired, got 12 shots, did him a wound or 2 to Magnus. The Siege Burst Crawler then fell flat on its face, and I think it Rot Hill volley gunned one Marine here. The Plague Burst Mortar did nothing to the Predator, and the Entropy Cannons did nothing here. I'm probably splitting his fire up too much. Probably need to focus him down, and honestly, probably need more than one of them. But he is very resilient, so I'm going to keep giving him a shot for now. Over here, all of our Marines moved up to the center with the support of the Sorcerer, who is here behind this squad, and the Mephitic Blight Haulers. The Demon Prince peeled back here to get Symbol of the Fly Lord, and to provide reroll 1s here. And Mortarion leaped to the top of the tower so that he could see the battlefield better and get prepared for any charges that might crop up. Psychic phase, we were able to smite this Rhino down to 4 damage points and smite that Rhino down to 1 with Mortarion. The drone down here in the shooting phase then threw 12 shots, just like his buddy on the other end, and killed 6 Rubric Marines back here. Just insane. The Hellbrute then had stepped around the corner here, fired and blew this Rhino up, slew 1 of the Rubrics in the ensuing explosion. The rest fell out in the crater. The Marines then opened up across the front. Their bolters cut down most of the Zangors, leaving 3 alive, and their blight launchers killed all 3 spawn in the second squad. The Mephitic Blight Haulers then fired down here, did 5 wounds to Magnus. He only, or 4, just 4, and he felled 1 invul. We did him 3 wounds there. And then they fired their bile spurts up into this squad and killed 2 of them. The other 4 guys that are dead in that squad died from smite from the Demon Prince. So that is it up to the assault phase. Got a few charges to try out, and then we will be back. The assault phase for the Death Guard rolls to an end. We put both of the demon engines into Magnus. We were unable to do any damage with the drone, who was then crushed by Magnus in return. But the Plague Burst Crawler, I did not realize, is actually fairly decent hand-to-hand. He did ram Magnus and put 1 wound in him. Magnus, when he destroyed this, did make it pop, so we lost 1 wound from the Crawler, and Magnus lost a further wound, leaving him at 5 wounds. Over on this flank, we attempted to charge here in the center with the Blight Haulers against these 3 Marines, but were unable to do so. And then Mortarion charged in here and did what he's known for. So 18 hits, 18 wounds, and slaughtered the Rubrics there in combat. When also his Lord of Plagues went off on the Rhino and destroyed it. It did not explode though. So we got a few morale checks. So we're going to go with the Marines back here first. 1, they do not care, right? So they lost 6, so good to go. Guys here also do not care. The Zangors, that'll do them, right? Yeah, they're done. And then the guys here in the crater, 6. Will that get all of them? Let's see, you lost 4, 10. That'll get 2 of them. So 2 guys there. All right, that is it for the Death Guard. Thousand Sons response in 2 coming up. All right, Thousand Sons have finished turn 2 up to the shooting phase. Josh, tell us about it.
Well, we don't really have a whole lot left out here, and our psychic phase was complete freaking garbage.
Yeah, it was pretty awful.
I think we managed to get off 3 powers.
Yeah, I canceled a couple and you failed, I think, half of them. That was pretty terrible psychic phase for sure.
So, you roll with what you got. We fired the Predator Annihilator at the Bloat Drone, managed to kill it in 1 go.
Oh, yeah.
First time in probably ever.
Yeah, he just obliterated.
The 2 Forge Fiends fired on Mortarion and knocked a couple of wounds out of him. And we attempted a Demon Shell to knock D3 wounds out of him with the Exalted Sorcerer, and he rolled a 2 and knocked a wound out of himself.
Because of miasma, yeah, miasma made it a 1.
And the combined fire of the bolters from the remaining Rubrics managed to down 1 Plague Marine.
Yeah, the -1s everywhere, the Bloat Drone, or the Blight Haulers and everything. And then Magnus also did a couple of wounds with Smite back here on the blight haulers. Tried to temporarily manipulate himself, and the Demon Prince shut that down. One of the smites at Mortarion, or at the bloat drone, was shut down. One of the powers from this side, I think it was Glamour, was shut down, and then he just failed everything else. Did pop the bloat drone, like you said. When it died, it exploded, dealt 1 wound to Mortarion, and did destroy one of the rubrics there in the backfield. All right, you got any assaults, sir?
Yeah.
All right. 1,000 Suns are going to do some charging, and we will be back. All right, the assault phase is complete. Josh, tell us how it went.
I wasn't aware that the Arch Contaminator, or the Lord of Plagues rule applied, even though Mortarion wasn't in combat, but it does. And he wiped the 3-man squad out before they got to swing. The 2-man squad managed to knock 1 Plague Marine down, and the Plague Marines boloed in return.
Yep.
So, not a great outcome, but at least we didn't get wiped out.
True. All right. Just cut the plasma out from shooting at the very least. All right. So that is it for the 1,000 Suns. Nurgle is going to take the initiative again and swing into turn 3. Alright, we've taken a pause in the middle of the Death Guard turn because Magnus is getting pretty low on wounds. He's down to 3 hits remaining. We are getting ready to fire the Blight Crawlers. They're 3 multi-meltas at him. He has 3 wounds remaining. So we're going to need 3s to hit him. 2 2s and a 4. This is looking a little less likely now. I need a 3 to wound him. A 6 will do it. So he's got an invul save. 3 doesn't do it. So we got 2 dice to take the highest because we are in close melter range, and a 4 will do it. So Magnus has been laid low. We will be back once the Death Guard have finished their turn up. Death Guard have finished up top of turn 3. We were able to fell Magnus, as you saw. He took a couple of wounds from psychic powers, and the last 3 were cut out by that multi-meltifier. We did, after we rolled it, remember, he had some points left, so he tried to make a command reroll and still failed his invul on that save. So Magnus was laid low by that. The 2 Marines in the middle between psychic powers and pistols were brought low before the combat started. The sorcerer here took 1 wound from the bile spurt, and we're going to give him a charge here. Lantern fired across the 3 models there in the back. He was able to put 3 wounds in the Forge Fiend on the far left, and then the Hellbrute was able to finish him off as he stepped up around the corner. The Plague Crawler down here fired all of his weapons on the Predator, other than the Rot Hell, which he fired at Magnus to no effect, and he totally missed, so nothing done there. That is it up to the assault phase. We've got a few charges to do, and we will be back. Alright, Death Guard have finished up their turn through the assault phase. The Plague Burst Crawlers or the Mephitic Blight Haulers were able to bring the Sorcerer down with their Gnashing Maws. Mortarion was able to get Lord of Hosts off, or Host of Plagues off on the Forge Fiend and do it 2 wounds, and then knocked a ton more out with his Scythe. Left it at 1 wound, however, wasn't able to kill it. It did miss in return. So, that is the end of Death Guard. We are currently looking at a 6-10 game in favor of the 1,000 Suns. We will be back after their next turn. All right, Josh, walk us down your turn. He went ahead and played his whole turn out.
So, the only close combat was the foregone conclusion with Mortarion and the Forge Fiend, and I didn't want to fall back because we drew advance, which meant we were going to score points if there was no one in our deployment zone at the end of the turn. So we left him there to die so that at the end of the turn we could score a point for advance. I moved the Predator out of my deployment zone off to his right, and then played a Blasphemous Machine so that I could fire my las cannons at full effectiveness onto the Mephitic Blight Crawlers into the center, and we managed to punch 1 out completely. So we reduced their effectiveness quite a bit, going from hitting on 3s to hitting on 4s. And at the end of my movement phase, I used a Dark Matter Crystal to pick the Demon Prince up and pitch him into the corner, so hopefully we can play cat and mouse games until the whistle blows and come out with a couple of points victory.
Yep, that seems like a very Zinchen plan to me. I'm sure that's how he intended this to happen all along. Alright, so that's the end of the 1,000 Suns for turn 3. That makes it, what, 6-11, right? Alright, 6-11. We will be back. Alright, Death Guard have finished their turn up to the assault phase, and there will not be an assault phase this turn. For objectives this time, we drew Supremacy, Defend Objective 3, and Defend Objective 2 were already in place. The first thing we did was focus down every gun that we could on this thing. We moved the 2 Blight Haulers and Mortarion this way. They fired and were able to bring it down pretty close to death. I think I had 3 points left. These guys shot it. Plasma guns fired around the corner and did it 2 of its 3 remaining, and then what an ignominious end. It went down to the 3 bolters here from the back. That cleared the Hellbrute to fire his las cannon down here, and between that and the blight launchers and some other stuff right there, we were able to bring the Demon Prince down to 1 wound. So he's still ticking, but he is the last Thousand Son alive. He is hanging out because right now they are still in the lead, and if he can keep him alive for a couple more turns here, he can pull this out still. So potentially just 1 more turn for the Death Guard to deal with him. Not likely that he's going to survive, but we're going to play it out and see what happens. We will be back after the Thousand Sons response. All right, Thousand Sons drew their card. Josh is going to go ahead and tap there. Josh, you want to walk us down what's going on?
We managed to pull behind enemy lines to score us 1 point, but we also pulled secure objective 6. So that's a point for him, and with 1 wound left, that'll put him over me by 1 point. So we're going to go ahead and call it there.
Yep, so not a bad game, despite the casualties. That massive influx of points almost gave them what they needed. Those double defend plus supremacy are all that brought me back into the fight there. Supremacy did score me 2 points there. So that is the end of the battle. That will be a Death Guard victory. Mortarion stands triumphant for the moment, but I'm sure Magnus will be back soon to reclaim his spot at the Ascension here on the table. We will have after-action reviews and army lists at the blog as always. Be sure to give us a like if you like what you saw, and a subscription is the most important metric on YouTube, and we appreciate all of you who have done that for us. As always, guys, thanks for spending time with us today at the Maelstrom.